That might be better. Please let me know if that's coming through. And I will start again. 3-2 at Old Trafford. Last game of the season. People in the chat, let me know if you can hear me. Bit of a sound issue there. And here we go. So as I was saying, nice farewell to, just see what the comments are saying. Yeah, it's working now. Thank you there for Adil. Thank you there, SJG. So as I was saying, technical issues. As I was saying, Casemiro, nice farewell. Nice to see him playing, obviously. Is a bit sad that he's going. I know it is the right time, probably, but he gets his farewell. Last game at Old Trafford. Last game at Old Trafford, the boys, for this season. Nice 3-2 win, as I was saying earlier. We're in front of our bitter rivals, Liverpool, as well. That's another good thing. Another small win for us. Just going to put some comments on the screen now, I think, other than the sound issues. So, yes, here we go. Yep, working now. One more to go. Yeah, one more to go. And obviously, nice to get the win. Wasn't the best game in the world, as I was trying to say earlier with the sound issues. But Carrick's at the helm. Carrick's at the wheel. Don't know if it's officially being said now by Manchester United. I know he was due to do a speech in the ground, Carrick, I believe. So I don't know if anything's going to be official through that medium. So if anybody's watching that, please let me know. As SJG saying here, cast the legend. So yes, and Bruno equals the assist record, equals it. So, I mean, for those people in the chat, come on, you were watching the game with me. He should have had at least 3 assists today, Bruno, I would have thought, at least 3 or 4. And Boomer does get the goal, but it looked like he was going to let Bruno down a little bit there. And as people have probably said before, I love Bruno, but he was trying so hard to get an assist, which it kind of sort of impacts your game when you're doing that. But it was quite funny to see, really. So there's more chats coming in. Adil, Cass will be the big miss in midfield, and he will, Adil. He will be a miss because it's going to be... Thing is, I don't know who we're linked to, really. There's nothing really firmed up in terms of links. And we were watching, because I like to watch players that we have been linked to in the past play against us. And we've got Anderson that played against us again today. I believe he got 2 assists today. I know he's not there for assist in my book in terms of why I'd want him, because I'd want him to replace Casemiro. And again, don't know what you guys think in the chat. So what's Michael saying here? Bruno forever in the books, and Boomer should have had a hat-trick. And you're right, Michael, he should have had a hat-trick today. He were looking shocked. I mean, he weren't looking shocking in general play per se, but he was looking shocking when it came to the last sort of touch that he needs to do, whether it be a pass or a control or the finish. Were just deserting him until he got that goal, which again you could say pretty much all his chances he couldn't miss, really. And even the one where Cunha has scored and put us in the lead. I don't know what you guys think. Please put your comments into the chat. Was it a handball? Now, obviously, I'm not reading the rule book, but to me, it did look like it touched his hand, and it was the reason why he was able to control it before he takes the shot. I'll take it, and I'm not going to go on about it like Neville does, because I really liked Neville. I think he's a legend of the club from the past, but he was going on and on and on about the handball, and it was almost like he was willing for the referee and VAR to rule it out. And what I was quite impressed with, though, to be fair, and I can't even remember the name of the referee, because normally I feel like the referees are against Manchester United, is gone to the screen where VAR's basically saying, I think you've made an error here. You need to go over to the screen and have a look. And he's overruled VAR and just, said that the goal's a goal. Fair play. I wish that something like that had happened earlier in the season when it feels like things have gone against us. But anyway, he's done that. I was quite impressed by that. SJG saying, glad Mboma scored today. He needed it, and he definitely needed it, because I think if he hadn't have scored today, you don't want stuff like that to be a cloud over him going into next season. And we're going to have to rely on Mboma, rely on Cunha to do well next season. We don't know what we're going to get in terms of forwards coming into the team. Obviously, we've got Sesko that's injured at the minute. I've always said I like Sesko, but is he a killer? Is he ruthless? Is he like a Kane who wants to keep scoring? Is he like Haaland that wants to keep scoring? Does he get his goal and sit back? And I always feel he gets his goal and he sits back for me. So I'd like to see something else come in, but we are going to rely on Mbeumo. We need a good season from him if we're going to do well in Champions League, which we're in, by the way, everybody. Don't forget, we're playing that music. The Champions League next season. We're going to have more competitions, more games. This was our lowest amount of games that we've played in a long time for Manchester United. This is not Manchester United playing such few games. So we're going to be in with the big boys next season, and we're going to need our players to play well so that we can do well in these competitions. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to go for the league or anything. That's a bit far-fetched, but I'd like to see us make a good account for ourselves in some of these competitions going forward and qualify for Champions League 2 years in a row, which I don't think we've done in a long time. So what else we got here from Michael? According to the rules, it wasn't, but it was a grey area, massively subjective. So yeah, that's going back to Mbeumo. And I think what has been coming out since is that it's hit another part of his body first. It's accidental and it's flicked onto his arm. Obviously, I'm not going to go as far as saying what Neville was saying. Neville said he's basically caught the ball. I mean, come on, you're taking the piss there. He didn't catch the ball, but it has touched his arm, his lower arm. And obviously, you've got the sleeve line and everything. Obviously, it was a lot lower than that. So, you know, if it happens against us, let's say that's Gibbs White in our box, and that happens, and then they score, you'd have a lot to say, and I know I'd have a lot to say about that. But you know, if that's the rules, I will take it all day long. I'm not going to do what Neville said. Definitely not. Definitely not. So we'll just sort of cover a bit about the game. As we know, it was 3-2. Shaw. Let's just start with Shaw actually, because I've been a little bit of a critic for Shaw, and I think sometimes I'm a bit like that because I do watch United Stand. I do see Ricky on there, and Ricky's absolutely obsessed with Luke Shaw. He thinks Luke Shaw is the best player for Manchester United. He thinks Luke Shaw is the best thing since sliced bread. Now, I don't think he's crap or anything. I quite like Shaw, and I quite like the fact that he's managed to stay fit this season, which is quite a surprise for him considering he's getting older and he's managing to stay fit. But, you know, he gets that goal. I thought he was going to hit it on the volley, to be fair. And then he sort of takes it down and then sort of places it nicely in the bottom corner. A really nice finish for a player that hasn't probably scored for about 2 years or something like that, maybe a bit longer. So a really nice finish. Did think, I'm sure, because didn't Bruno sort of swing that ball in initially, but then it's hit a defender before it goes to Luke Shaw. So we're all sort of, well, I was on the edge of the seat thinking, come on, Bruno's going to get that assist. But I was getting drawn into it because there was that sort of obsession from Bruno to get that assist. But a really good finish. So Shaw gets that first one. Then Morato gets a goal for Forest. And then Cunha gets that second with that controversy around it with the Mbeumo potential handball, which obviously isn't a handball according to the rules. And then Mbeumo does get his goal after a few times of trying, and then Gibbs White gets one where it gets a little bit shaky towards the end. We didn't have to win the game per se, but we needed that point to solidify third spot. Michael, now I believe the legends of Sir Alex Ferguson's era don't want the club to succeed. Yeah, Shaw only stayed fit because it was 1 game a week. Yeah, and it's World Cup year. Yeah, good point. He also stays fit before a major international tournament. Yeah, this is the thing. I think I don't like to say stuff like that, but I know enough people have said it, and I can't overly disagree with that because normally, as you said there, Michael, if it's Euros, if it's World Cup, he will do what he can to either stay fit, or if he's been injured, he'll do what he can to come back just in time. And I think he's done that before, where I don't know if it was the last internationals where he came back from injury and nobody thought he was going to go. Nobody thought Southgate was going to bring him, and they brought him. Now, obviously, he does play pretty well for England. I get it. And again, you can't sort of hold it against people wanting to play for the country. There's a bit of glory. Obviously, he's getting older, so he's going to want to try and get in there whilst the team's good and there's a chance to win a Euros or win a World Cup. So you can't sort of blame him for that. But I think the problem is, as a Manchester United fan, and for the club that pays your salary, you want them to be doing this because they play for Manchester United. Now, we have heard Shaw say before that he enjoyed playing for England more than Manchester United. Now, I'm not just going to leave it there. I'm going to say I sort of saw where he was coming from, because I think in that period that he was talking about, we were going for a bad period. So I sort of understand that now. Do I want him to say that in public? Probably not. That's the only thing I'd say on that one. So yeah, so that's Sean. I get your point, Michael. I think I massively. I mean, to be fair, there's so many points that I think we both made, Michael, where we're quite aligned on a lot of stuff anyway. So just getting into a little bit of the. I'll just do this one, and then we'll get a little bit more into what happened in the game. Admittedly, he's an England's best left back, and can't remember any other left back in the league that's English and plays regularly. No, and again, I think it does give him that opportunity to get back into the team, because he is somebody that you can rely on. As you're saying there, he's reliable. He puts in a good shift. And end of the day, as he's getting older, he's getting that experience as well. So even if the speed's not quite there, he can be in the right places at the right time and make the right decisions. And that's generally what you want as well. So we'll see if Tuchel falls for it and lets him go. But again, as Michael's saying there, who else do you take? I mean, maybe Lewis Hall. I think he's a left back. I'm trying to think of anybody else really, because is Reece James on the other side, on the right hand side. But again, he doesn't stay fit, Reece James. So that's the other side of it. So there was, like I say, there was some interesting things in the first half. I think we started off pretty decent. Started off the first half pretty decent. Thought we had a lot of the control of the ball. I don't believe that we was carving open that many chances per se, but we had some good control within that game, which is good to see. I think and I've said it myself now, that Carrick is almost confirmed. And again, I might have missed something whilst going live. I want to start to see a little bit more from him, because I think we're going to need more from him in going into next season. I think we're going to need to see a bit more of an identity. But one thing I will say, and I've always said from the game against Arsenal and then going on to the game against City under Carrick, is that he was starting to bring back some of the stuff that I remember watching United under Fergie, where not so much intricate play like a Pep, like I said before, but it's about that wing play. It's about that fast play on the break. Obviously, if you say it's on the break or transition, it sounds sexy. If you say it's counter-attack, it sounds like it's just basic, boring England tactical sort of things where even a Southgate can do it. And I think that is a bit harsh sometimes, because I think there's a lot of value in whatever you want to call it, whether you want to call it transition, whether you want to call it on the break, whether you want to call it counter-attack, but I think there's a lot of value in that. The only thing I will say on top of that is that you need to have something else in your armory. You need to have something else up the sleeve, that it's not just about sitting back and hitting on the break. You have to still, for me, have the ability that you can go out there and take the initiative as well and be proactive and beat your man and get a cross in and get a goal. But if you can mix it up, and hopefully Carrick can, is he going to be the next Pep? Doubtful, but he's started off well, hasn't he, Carrick? I think his stints so far, but obviously both being as interim, have been good overall. We can't knock him. He's had a good win rate there. I think he was on about 60% before this game, win rate wise. So you can't knock him. Does he deserve it? I think he does. Is there any other options really? Not really. Iriola, we know that Alonso looks like he's gone to Chelsea now. So who else was there? That's the thing. That's the question for the chat as well. Is Carrick the right man to take us into the next season? What do you think, people that are still tuned in, watching? Is Carrick the right man to take us into the future now? Or does he just keep the seat warm for a season or two, ready for the next guy to come in and take us over the line? Who knows? Again, as we said before, you've got people like Arteta, hasn't done it yet, but he's lucky he's on the brink. Hasn't managed a club before. He's just sort of, been the understudy to Pep, goes over to Arsenal, gets them playing decent football. This gets them into a position now where they've been finishing second quite a lot, and now on the brink of winning the league. So is it something that Carrick could do also? Just because Arteta's Spanish and Carrick's English doesn't mean that he couldn't do it as well. So, just trying to play both sides there. What do people think that are watching? I don't know. So before I continue, as SJG saying here, happy for him to have the opportunity. I think he deserves it. And again, that's what I was sort of trying to say, really, is that he's done enough. I mean, I think the three miserable twats that were sat there in the stadium there, Sir Jim, Barada and Wilcox, they set him a task. They said, Carrick, can you come in? Can you sort of stabilise things? You know the club. You've been here before. Our target for you, Carrick, is get us Champions League football. And I think he's done as much as he could do. And on top of that, although I suppose it does make a difference because, as people will know, depending on where you finish in the league, you get more sort of revenue as well, more money for the competition side of things. So he's got as much as he could do. There was no real chance of him sort of getting, obviously winning the league, or second might have been a thing at times, but City sort of turned a bit of a corner and started to chase Arsenal down a little bit. So to finish third and to get Champions League, obviously, which is more important, I think he's met his assignment, to be honest with you. So, yeah, you can say he deserves it. And again, 2-year contract initially kind of gives you that halfway house where it's a little bit of, don't fully trust you, but we're giving you enough time to do something and hopefully it goes well. So all you can do is back the guy. So as I was saying, first half, again, nothing fancy, nothing fantastic, nothing groundbreaking. We had some good play here and there. Started off pretty well, as I was saying before. Forest then started to come back into it later on in that sort of, I suppose in sort of 15, 20 minutes sort of time scale, they sort of started to come back more into it. And there was a bit more of a game on our hands, I suppose. As I was saying earlier, was on Anderson watch a little bit. I thought he was neat and tidy. Whether he could be a Casemiro replacement, who knows? But we know that City are in pole position for Anderson. And it's whether we're going to end up with Baleba maybe. And as Michael's saying, he has come in here. So Alonso to Chelsea, I'm kind of worried because of the title of manager. Yes, that's true. That is a very important point they gave him. But I believe if we get Carrick the right players, he will be consistent with top three finishers like Ole before Sancho. So yeah, again, just picking up a couple of points there. I think some people have probably seen that go under the radar a little bit, to be fair, that Alonso is a manager there. And it looks like Chelsea have sort of gone back on what they were looking at doing, where they wanted to bring in someone that they could bitch and have a yes man. And they've just decided that, you know what, we aren't doing the right things here. I think we just need somebody that's got some experience, got some know-how, bring them in, see if they can settle us down and get us in the right direction. I think that's probably, strangely, I think that's quite it seems like a nice fit, to be fair, Alonso at Chelsea. It does feel like a nice fit. I don't know what it is. It just feels like a nice fit. I don't think, as much as I'd like to have been linked to Alonso just to show that we are doing our due diligence, I didn't particularly want Alonso. And I don't also think that he has that, I don't know if he'd look right at Manchester United, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm just, I don't know, but I just don't think that would look right personally. And I think sometimes you've got a player there, he played at Liverpool. Obviously, I know he's played at other clubs, but you know, when you've got someone that just feels like they're attached to Liverpool, I think he would have looked well at Liverpool for that reason. But for whatever, I don't know what it is, and maybe it's just me, but I just feel like he just seems to fit at Chelsea, which is worrying. So it's going on to some of the point there, Michael, is that I am a little bit worried about it because I think he just seemed to be a good fit there, and I think he could do well, if I'm honest. And if they give him the right players, which Chelsea, to be fair, like to back their coach, they could do all right. So we've got to be careful, and that's exactly why we need a good window in the summer, so we can keep up with what's going on elsewhere. So yeah, going into the second half, I think that was a good start. Again, good start to the second half. It quite fast paced. Again, we could have probably scored early doors, and then finally we got that sort of controversy when the ball got driven in from Bruno. So obviously there was plenty of other times where Bruno was trying to get an assist, and it was getting to a point where it was getting a little bit cringy, but obviously he got it in the end. He's equaled it, not beat it yet. He's got one more game to beat it. And that's another question to people in the chat. Do you think Bruno's going to get that assist record? Do you think he can get one more assist? We are playing against Brighton as well, by the way. And Brighton still, normally at this point of the season, because I think we seem to play Brighton around this time every season for the last few seasons. And normally they're on the beach, literally. They've got a beach in Brighton. But normally they're on the beach by now. But Brighton still have something to play for, I believe. I still think they have European spots to play for. So it could be a challenge for us. Could be a challenge for us when we play them. So can he get that assist? What do you guys think? We'll talk about that a bit more, maybe. But yeah, so second half, as I was saying, drills that ball across. Ahmad almost gets on the end of it, but doesn't touch it. And then Mbeumo, after, I think he slipped just before as well. You're thinking, oh, no. And then he does get connection on it and gets that finish. And I think he needed it. He definitely needed that, because I just feared if he comes out of this game today without scoring, how does that impact him going into the next game? That's the problem. So as Michael's saying here, Bruno would get it definitely. Yeah, like I say, he's got one more game to do it. I think he's going to be... He's got a little bit of relief today. As you can see, the teammates around him today. He's got the relief today because he's equaled it, and he joins the party of Henry and De Bruyne. I believe De Bruyne did it twice and Henry did it once, the 20 assists. With one or two of us, including myself, have been a bit fooled by the propaganda that Henry's assists were all from open play, but it's been debunked that, and it's not quite as it seems. So it's good that we're not taking anything too much away from Bruno. So yeah, it'd be nice for him to separate himself from De Bruyne and Henry, especially in a season or in a team that's not able to give Bruno a bit more and allow him to have had a cup or two. So the next best thing is to get your personal accolades, and it'd be nice for him to leave this league at some point knowing that he's got that assist record. So more than anything, I want him to get it for that reason. And as Michael's saying here, he will get 2 against Brighton. Right, okay, 2 against Brighton. So, yeah, I take it you think we'll be beating Brighton as well then in that case, because I think if he gets 2 assists and we've scored 2 goals, there's every chance we're winning that game against Brighton. The only reason I was a little bit sceptical about that is because Brighton, for the first time in a while at this stage of the season, still seem to have something to play for, if I've got my maths right, in terms of the league standings there. So whether that be, I don't think they can't do Champions League, can they? I think that was Bournemouth that could have probably pipped Liverpool to that, but they can get in the Europa League, I believe. So yeah, so like I say, Mbeumo gets that goal. It was a little bit closer than it should have been. I think we had some poor defending in parts as well, really, for Forest to get back into things. I must admit, though, when Anderson, I think it was Anderson that played the ball across the area to Gibbs White, he sort of finishes instinctively and pretty quickly. So as much as I think it is poor defending initially, I think he did the only thing he could do to score in that situation, because I think if he takes another touch, he gets blocked. So to take it so instinctively and so quickly, it sort of catches Le Mans off guard a bit as well, along with the back line. So you've got to give a bit of credit to Gibbs White as well at the same time, to be fair to him. So obviously, in terms of just a roundup on the match itself, obviously there's so obviously Bruno gets his assist record and equals it, should I say, equals the record. So that's one big thing there. Obviously, Mbeumo gets that goal. That ultimately gets him that. And I did think at one point that he was going to ruin the assist thing for Bruno, to be fair. Michael saying here he could have got 5 assists today if everybody converted. And my confidence is based on the volume of chances he creates, because today he created 8 awesome chances. Yeah, and I mean, I didn't count them, must admit, Michael, I didn't count them, but you're probably right there, because it did look like he created, most of them were probably for Mbeumo, to be fair. And there was one in particular where he blasts over the bar, Mbeumo, and normally when he's in that position, he normally puts it away. So I was quite surprised that that he didn't score there. Although he's been off form, so is it much of a surprise? Maybe not. So again, I'm talking about this as much as Neville here. Controversial decisions, and if we're going to talk about that, potentially the Mbermo one where it's hit his arm, but again, it's hit part of his body first onto the arm. He takes a shot, doesn't score. It falls to Cunha. So there's a bit of play that goes on up until the point it gets to Cunha anyway. Cunha slots in smartly in the bottom corner. And that is one man, I've got to say, I've got to give a shout out to Cunha. That's one man that has turned it on. Obviously, he had a bit of a slow start under Carrick in the sense that he was starting as a sub. But then pretty much after that sort of City/Arsenal game, or the other way around, Arsenal came first, I believe. Although he came on as a sub and did make a difference. Obviously, he got an assist, I think, in one and scored a goal in the other. He started just to kick on. Once he started starting as well, he just kicked on. And it's one play we've got to have a massive shout out to, and he's ended the season well for us. And I'm thinking now, well, he should be in double figures now, surely, for goals. I'd have to look into that. So yeah, so not a massive talking point. Lastly, on the Mbermo, because it's a kind of a nothing game today, other than for us fans to see our team win their last game at Old Trafford for this season. But it wasn't much of a game where it's going to make a difference to either side. Forest were already safe and not in that relegation battle, and we, as much as we have got third to play for, we still had another game to sort of try and secure that anyway, and we're already in Europe, so there was not a dead rubber, but it wasn't much of a game to think about today. So I'm just going to have a quick look at the stats really quickly from today's game, and then maybe look at the table really quickly as well. So what we got here then, so obviously 3-2, which is the most important stat, as I always keep saying. 49% possession. Does that bother anyone against Forest at home? Again, it's a little bit of a worry for me, but and it has been worse than that for a couple of games where I've seen before. It's been worse than that. Expected goals then was 4.19 for us. 29 shots in total, which is interesting considering the possession that we've had to their 11. 8 shots on target. And then 6 big chances. 6 big chances. And I'm sure Bruno was involved in a lot of that as well, to be honest with you. So very interesting stuff there. I'm just going to really quickly as well while we're talking, because what we're going to come on to as well is just to talk about who's played well and get on to the man of the match, and then pretty much wrap things up as well from there. But let's have a look at table. I'll just share that again so you can see that. That's the table. So as we know, Arsenal are there at the top, City just behind them, 2 points behind. We're there in 68 points. Can we get into the 70s, maybe against Brighton? Let's see. We've confirmed that third spot there. We've got Villa behind us there by, 6 points. Liverpool, good to see them that far down below us now, in a sense, or in terms of points, should I say. And that, as I was saying before, Bournemouth, I think Bournemouth could snatch it off them if Liverpool were to lose their next game potentially, and then we've got Brighton there in 7th. So very interesting. And just a quick look at the bottom there. Obviously, we know that Wolves have gone down, Burnley have gone down, and it's just a tussle, straight up tussle between West Ham and Spurs. 2-point differential there. Very interesting stuff. So that's the league table. So as Michael was saying there, he's very confident that Bruno is getting that assist record, and at least maybe even going 2 assists ahead of who is equaled, which is good confidence there, Michael. I can see why you've got that confidence, to be fair to you. So, as I was saying, in terms of who played well today, I mean, Le Mans, I know he's conceded 2 goals, but I think Le Mans played pretty well today. I think Shaw did okay. I think Martinez was much better than he was the last game. I think he's improved his game today. A few last-ditch stuff there. Seemed to be in control, to be fair, in most of the game. Maguire was sort of quiet, but he was doing his bits and pieces as well and showing his experience. There was one time that he sort of went down like a cricketer sort of pose to stop an attack, and it worked out for him. Dalot was normally just getting into certain positions and yeah, fluffing his lines. He did hit the post. He didn't go way over the bar like he normally does. But again, that might have been an assist for Bruno if it had gone in. I'm not sure. I mean, I wouldn't have counted something like that because he didn't really lay it off today. Ahmad played better, I thought, today than he did last game. Still a little bit knocked there in terms of performance, but I think he did much better. And Burma, I was all out to call him like the worst player today, but then does get his goal, so I'll let him off. And as Michael's saying here, do you agree with me? It looks like you might, do we? Xerxes isn't a, yep, there you go. I was cursing Xerxes from the moment he came on until the full-time whistle because he's control, horrible. I know some people and like Xerxes because of the touches that he's got. But the thing is for me with Xerxes, he's been brought in, not his fault per se, because he's never classed himself as a striker, but we've brought him in as a striker and he's classed himself as a 9.5 or whatever he classes himself. He doesn't class himself as a striker. His touch was awful. His passing can be awful at times. If he loses the ball, he doesn't run back. If he does try and press, he just runs past the player rather than actually pressing the player. His shooting is, I've said from day one, though, because I did watch it. I do this thing. I mean, again, I don't use Y-Scout because I don't pay for Y-Scout or anything. But if I know a player's linked to us, I do like to, especially if I haven't seen him play much, I do like to maybe go on YouTube. I'll be honest. I may go on YouTube, for example. And I watched a few highlights of Xerxes, and what I've noticed before he came to Manchester United is that he doesn't strike the ball. When he shoots, he sort of passes it. And it's almost like he's trying to hit the finesse button on FC 26 or whatever. He never puts his foot through it. I don't know if he's got the capability to do so, but he had a chance today where he's sort of like on the edge of the box and takes a shot. He gets another chance because it sort of rebounds, but again, it's there's no confidence. He doesn't hit through it. He doesn't hit through the ball. He's got no power, and it's like the guy's only going to score if he's going to tap it in over the line. He isn't going to score when there's someone in front of him, or again, you get a striker, especially like a striker like Shearer back in the day, who used to absolutely lever the ball. If you put your foot through it, but there's a player in the way, it might still come off the player and still go in because it's got that much power. Or a keeper might get a hand to it, but it still goes in. If he shoots and the keeper gets to it, the keeper will save it because there's no power to his shot. And he isn't a Manchester United player. And also, Michael, I don't think he's a Premier League player. I think he does need to go back to Italy and do something there. I think he did all right there when he was over there, and he needs to go back there for me. And hopefully there's somebody that's interested in him over there. And SJG saying here, Xerxes needs to go. Yeah, agreed. Can't cope with him. Shocking. Yeah. And he really is. And he's frustrating. And again, like I said before, at least if you've got, again, Sesko's not the best at pressing, but at least he tries. Whereas Xerxes, I really just don't know. I can't explain the guy. And obviously, sorry to say this, David speaks football, but we do streams together, and I know you rate Xerxes and you don't like Ahmad, although I've gone off Ahmad a little bit recently, and you definitely don't like Mano. But Xerxes, come on, Xerxes. I mean, I don't know how you can't rate Mano, but then you rate Xerxes, because I mean, Xerxes, Jesus Christ, man, seriously, just not, as Michael's saying there, a Manchester United player for me. So then, as I was saying, let's get on to the man of the match then. So give you a chance to put your man of the matches in the chat, and then I'll say what mine is, and then we'll wrap things up, people. So thank you, people that have tuned in. And please hit that subscribe button as well for the people that have tuned in and not subscribed yet, because it's free, people. It doesn't cost you a thing. Just hit the button. And you'll know when I'm on next as well. Just hit that bell notification button as well. So, what's Michael saying here? Xerxes only has a positive attitude, but no pace, no power, no header. Yeah, and that's another thing as well, because he's, don't know what how tall he is, but I know he's at least 6 foot. He's got a lot of hair as well. Not that is a big thing, but going on to the header situation doesn't really, even when he does header it, it just seems to just go flat. So sometimes you'll talk about crosses that are looped in and you've got to put a bit of power on it. So you might get someone like a Maguire or a Casemiro that'll use their neck muscles and get some power on the ball when it comes in looped. Or if it comes in quickly, you don't need to put much on it. You just need to guide it. Whereas Xerxes, don't matter what type of ball comes in, it just balloons over the bar, or he takes the power off it somehow. So it's almost like he's trying to do a defensive header or something. It's just weird with Xerxes. I just really don't get it. Really don't get it. And I don't want to go too hard on the guy, but as Michael was saying, he is not a Manchester United player. So right then, people, SJG, Michael, whoever else is in, please tell me who you think the man of the match is for this game. Rounded up well there by Michael. Yeah, I think the same as Xerxes as I do Dalot. Yeah, Dalot's another one that can frustrate at times. Again, another one that is all for the cause of Manchester United, is Manchester United through and through. This is Dalot I'm talking about here. Got the right spirit, right attitude, a little bit like McTominay, really, where love the club, right attitude, but the performances don't always match their passion. So again, don't want to take the passion away. We want people that are passionate about Manchester United. We want our players to be passionate. You're not going to get everybody that's the same like that, but if you've got that passion and performance, win-win. Win-win. Passion, no performance, then I don't really care about your passion too much if you've got no performance. Performance, no passion. If I get the performance, win our games. So again, passion is the bonus for me. And I think if you've only got a bonus and no main game, sorry, Dalot, sorry, Xerxes. But Xerxes got to go for me, definitely. We've got to get an experienced player in. Michael, if you're still there, are you having Lewandowski? I mean, I know he's old. He's getting old now. I think he's on a free because I think Barcelona will be releasing him. But are you having him? Oh, interested to know, Michael, if you're having him. So, getting on then to the man of the match. Come on, people. I know you're there. Put your man of the matches in. Who do you think was the man of the match in this game? I know it can be a bit difficult when we weren't having a barnstorming game, but as Michael saying here, Dalot should be a squad player next season. I mean, I'm not saying get rid of Dalot. I'm saying get rid of Xerxes. I'm not saying get rid of Dalot per se, but I think if you've got Dalot as the starting fullback on the right, and then Shaw on the left, I think I'd like to see the change on the right hand side, if I'm honest. And as Michael's saying here, get Welbeck instead. Yeah, I get that. I don't know whether he signed another contract at Brighton or not, though, to be honest. I mean, I know that doesn't mean loads these days in football, but I think sometimes that can impact on how much the player is going to cost. And I think if Welbeck was coming towards the end of his contract at Brighton, you might have been able to get him on a free potentially, or get him quite cheap. Would I turn Welbeck down? No. He's Premier League proven. Still got good pace. He's a Man United man. He's a Man United boy. He's come through the ranks. I'm sure he'd love to finish his career at Manchester United. Could be wrong, but I'm sure he would. Does he cause issues for some of our rivals? Oh, you're damn right he does. Can he score against the likes of Liverpool, for example? I think he can. So, yes, I'll just throw in Lewandowski out there as a little bit of a, because he's coming free. For chuck that out there and see what you're thinking there, Michael. But no, I get your point with Welbeck. I think that's a good shout, to be fair. So, and I think this is in response to Dalot, not for me. And I can see that from SJG there. And you probably share my frustration with Dalot at times when he's through on goal in particular. No matter his contract, he wouldn't cost up to 5. Yeah, I get that. Again, obviously with age and everything, he probably wouldn't be too much in terms of cost. And also, I don't think salary he'd be commanding overly crazy salary either. So it's doable. And I think I don't know what you think, Michael. I'm sure that you agree from what you're saying there about Welbeck, is that Sesko needs some help, I think. And also we need somebody there because of the extra competitions. And I don't think we've really got anything coming through either. I know we got the lad from Obi from Arsenal, but I just don't know if he's ready for men's football or if he'll ever be ready for men's football. And it does remind me of some of the other players that have come through that didn't quite cut it in the end, like your McCadas back in the day. Wilson as well was another one. There's been a few promising looking strikers coming through the youth ranks, but then don't quite cut it when it comes to men's football because they can't cope with the speed and the pace of the Premier League and the strength of defenders and what have you. And they can't get it all their own way as they're doing youth squads. So I think you've got to go out there and get something. And I think maybe another young striker is probably not the right way to go. And hopefully, Wilcox, your obsession with Delap, that you drop that obsession with Delap, because I don't think Delap's the one. I really don't. And as SJG saying here, Welbeck is a good shout, and I do agree. Welbeck is a good shout. And Welbeck would be good for both Sesko and Obi. Yeah. And I mean, again, I've got high hopes for Obi because of some of his, I suppose not records, probably the wrong word, but how he was coming through the ranks at Arsenal. There was that famous time that he played against the Liverpool youth squad where he scored like 5 goals or something. So yeah, it's promising. He's got the height. I've obviously can develop a bit of strength. He has got a good finish on him. It's just that I think he's been a little bit knocked because when he got brought into the first team and he did all right. He was doing bits, but it was in a poor period for us. And I think this is what I've said before about the team, that we before we start bringing in youngsters or before we bring in a younger player through a transfer, we've got to be doing well ourselves on the pitch to give them confidence to join a team that's doing okay or better than okay. And I think when we're doing pretty shit and you bring in a youngster and then they're struggling to get into the game because we're not playing particularly great, it's very hard for them. So, yeah, I think Welbeck with his experience can pass on quite a lot. And it looks like Sesko, because pretty much after every game, is listening to what Bruno's got to say to him, Sesko. So it looks like he's open to learning, open to listening to other players that have been there, done that sort of thing. So Welbeck, I think I'd agree with you there, Michael, in regards to that. So guys, we're on about Welbeck, we're on about strikers possibly coming in, but put your man of the matches in the chat now, because we are going to wrap things up, people, and give you your Sunday afternoon back. We need another striker, even if you add Welbeck and Obi, because United grew up supporting, always had fought. Yeah, you're right there as well. I know, obviously, the only thing there, Michael, is that obviously traditionally we would have played 4-4-2, so that would be a reason why Fergie had so many strikers, because we played 4-4-2, and obviously traditionally these days it's one up top, so it doesn't always feel like you need as many strikers for that reason, but would I say no to an additional strike on top of Welbeck? No, because I think, again, another thing to be careful, though, with Welbeck is the injury side, because I'm not saying he's injury prone, but there's been the times where it seems like he's out a bit. So that's the other side to look at, because the last thing you want is that Welbeck's doing pretty well and all of a sudden he's injured and then you just back down to Sesko again. So I get your point. Right, people, put your man of the matches in there. Put your man of the matches in. So just to really quickly sort of wrap up then, I think overall the game did feel like an end of season game. It did feel like almost like a dead rubber, because both teams know that they haven't got loads to play for now at this stage of the season. As I was saying earlier, Forest have secured Premiership football again next season. We've secured Champions League football for next season. It only needed a point for us to secure third, which gives us that bragging rights over Liverpool. So it was a little bit of a game that, didn't really need any team to sort of bust a gut. So it kind of looked that way as well. I mean, again, the neutral might think otherwise. I mean, again, even as a Manchester United fan, that I believe I am balanced and honest. I enjoyed the game. And I think it's easier to enjoy the game when you've won it. And then before we get on to the man of the match, because one person has put their man of the match in, and put your man of the match in, Michael. You do need that many strikers if you want to go all the way next season, unless you add Mbermo. You put your man of the match. Man of the match, yeah, Magnifico. Yeah, so is that Bruno? Yes, so your man of the match, Bruno, then. Yes, I like that. Yeah, I get your point as well, though, Michael, because, we do need, as much as we can, we do need a squad. We do need to be doing what a big team as we are should be doing, and having those options in every position. So you're more than right there, Michael. And SJG is saying, I'm going to say Bruno, man of the match. Yeah, I get that. So I was toying between Bruno and Cunha, to be honest. I thought Cunha had a good game today, but I think I'm gonna go the line that Michael and SJG said there and go Bruno because of equaling the assist record for the Premier League. So hopefully, as Michael said, and as confident as Michael's been, that he's going to smash it next week. He's going to beat it, and he's going to be standing out front on his own as the assist maker, as the magician that he is. So, as always, I think that pretty much wraps everything up, unless there's anything final coming in from anyone. But as always, thank you for watching Dan Talks United. Please like, please share, and please subscribe, because that's really important to channels such as this. And I will see you for the preview for the Brighton game, the last game of the season. And then it's all about the World Cup, isn't it? But we need to get some signings in, though. We need to get some signings in, people. But as always, thank you for watching Dan Talks United. See you later, people.